Once upon a time, there was this silly little whiteboard helicopter game. Now, the reason I'm showing this to you is I want you to take a look at these guns that look like they're drawn on a whiteboard. They have a barrel that shoots this little line, and the barrel recoils, and the barrel will track my helicopter. Okay, enough of that. Because the reason I showed that to you is I'd like to show you how we can put a tower that looks a lot like that into Creeper World using custom scripting. So let's begin. I've already got a base map drawn here that we're going to fill in with these custom units. So let's move over and go to custom images. And I have already pulled some of the graphics from ChopRaider so that I can put them here in this game. You can do this too. Anyone editing the map can do this. Images need to be PNGs. They need to be 64 by 64. So let's let's open up the platform image. We're also going to need a barrel, and we're going to need the bullet, and I'm going to add a something extra here towards the end of this demo, hopefully. So there we have it. We have the base and the barrel and the bullet that it's going to shoot, and something else we'll get to in a little bit. So custom 0, 1, 2, and 3. Those are those images that we're going to use. So let's create a core unit. Let's go ahead and build him there. If you've watched previous videos, you'll recognize this guy. But in the current build, things have been enhanced significantly in terms of script management and image management and script capabilities. So let's begin by editing him and change his image to custom 0. There's the platform, the image that we loaded into custom 0. Just that easy to import a graphic and make a custom tower look like that graphic. Now, of course, we're going to need a barrel. We're going to need that barrel to track and to recoil and to do all kinds of interesting things. So I've got a number of scripts I've already written here, and I'm going to write another one to show you how that works here in just a minute. But I happen to have a gun script, and if we take a quick look at that, this is a very sophisticated script. It's on the complex side, so I'm not going to take the time to explain it. But it handles everything from setting up the barrel image, to finding closest units, to dealing with the recoil of the barrel, to firing, creating another unit, a bullet unit, and firing it towards the closest unit, assigning some variables on that bullet so that it knows what it's supposed to look like and where it's supposed to travel and what its rotation is, how much creeper it carries. And then, of course, I've got the utility functions I've written here for finding the closest unit, managing the barrel and the recoil. Lots and lots of stuff here that you probably don't want to look at right now. So we're not going to. We're simply going to use this script. So let's edit again and pick the script from the list and add that script to this unit. Now, if you paid real close attention at the top of the script, I defined a number of variables. These are input variables, and they're used within the script, and they have default values, but because of the way they were defined, they allow someone adding this script to one of their units to be able to modify those variables without having to edit the script. So you see where we're going here. It's possible for advanced players and for me and for other members of the community to create scripts. These scripts can be downloaded and used within your custom maps, and you never have to look at the script. You of course can, and you could modify it and make changes or base another script off of it, but you don't have to. You can simply use these scripts and then modify their variables and never have to look at one line of code. So I've added the gun script to this particular tower. Let's close them off. Let's go and let's play the game a little bit. Oops, look at that, a barrel appeared. And if I were to do something like build a unit, let's speed the game up here a little bit. Okay, and now if I were to move him within range That barrel turns, it fires a projectile, it recoils. When the projectile hits, it deposits creeper. Just like that. It's pretty nifty. It looks just like the gun did in Chop Raider. Okay, so let's clean this guy up here. Get rid of that creeper and go back to editing the map. So, one other thing that we might want to be able to do is clone that particular unit. So let's create it again. To go through those steps again, I'll select unit, the core, and I'll hit B to build it. I'll change its image to custom 0. I'll attach the gun script, and I'm going to leave these defaults the same. I could make its range larger though, or its payload, or its rotation speed, all those things. And there it is. Let's let the game run just a second. Looks good. Let's go back to editing. One way you can clone a unit, instead of having to do this manually over and over and over again, since I want a number of these, is to simply edit it and then close. Now I have a keyboard shortcut, C. It will automatically copy, including all the scripts and the settings, the previously edited unit. So I can hit C again and create a number of these guys. So let's just position these towers on these little pads that I put here. And it looks like we need one more. Okay, there it goes. So these guys are going to form a defensive line, and they're going to be an interesting enemy to tackle because we need to get a nullifier in range, but they're going to shoot at the nearest enemy a bullet that can't be stopped until it deposits its creeper. So we'll have to think about how to assault that. But before we do, let's put another unit back here, and let's make this one different. Let's make this one an emitter, but let's not build one of the simple built-in emitters. Let's create a custom emitter. So let's begin by creating a core, and let's change its image to an emitter image. And if we do that, then we get the built-in graphic for an emitter, and we're going to let's position this guy over here somewhere. That's fine. Now we need a script to do some emitting. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's create a new script called emitter. Create and edit. Now you'll notice the editing in this version is happening outside the game. The script is created on disk in a project directory for this particular map, and I can automatically launch the editor because I have this extension .crpl, the creeple extension, associated with any editor that I'd like to use. It could be Notepad or TextPad or just whatever. In this case, I'm using Notepad++. It's an open source editor. It's free. It's great. I've even done auto-completion, built-in help, and syntax highlighting for this particular editor, so we'll get pretty colors and all of that sort of stuff. Now, give me just a minute, and I'm going to open up my editor here so that I don't mistype it. Okay, just a minute. Okay, all right. So this is what I'm going to paste in here, and I'll explain it. Okay, so I have define a number of variables at the top. Remember, those are things that can be edited by the person using this script without ever having to look at this script. I define an amount, 10, an interval, which is in frames per second, so 15 frames will be the delay between emission. And then I've got these turbo amount and interval, and then a turbo range. The reason this is different than a normal emitter is because it's going to look for units, and when they get within this range of the emitter, then the emission amount is going to go up to this turbo amount. Its normal amount is 10, but if you get too close to it, it goes up to 100. And the triple rate, the interval, it triples. So the turbo interval goes from 15, the normal interval, to 5. So if you look at the script, you'll see I take the current coordinates, push them to the stack, the range, and then call this function get unit count in range. That returns the number of units starting at this pair of coordinates and that radius. If that's greater than 0, that means true. If there's more than 0, then I'm going to set creeper based on the turbo amount. Current coordinates, turbo amount, set creeper. I'm also going to activate digitalis so that the digitalis grows, and I'm going to cause this other script. I'm going to set a script variable on a script called blinking light to active, and then I'm going to do a delay. If we're not doing any of the if there are no units within range, then we're going to just do the normal set creeper. There's no digitalis, just the normal amount, and we're going to turn off the blinking light. And I'll show you how this blinking light will work here in just a minute. So let's save him, come back in, compile. So we have our emitter now, and it compiled just fine. Let's edit, select emitters in our list now, and add. Notice we've got our variables defined here. Close, run, and just like that, we made an emitter. And he's emitting at the non-turbo amount. Now if I get within range, speed the game up here a little bit, and slow it back down to normal speed. Oh, there comes a lot. You can see it kicked into that turbo level, and it also spawned the digitalis. It planted that digitalis seed, and that's going to grow now. Okay, so what about that blinking light? Well, that blinking light is another script, and the idea is that when the emitter is in turbo mode, I would like a light to appear on top of it that blinks on and off, a red light. So if we go to scripts and we look at the blinking light script, it's pretty simple. It looks more complicated than it is, but all it's doing is changing the alpha value, which is the transparency value of an RGB alpha color. So it makes it go between transparent and not transparent, and it toggles back and forth. It counts up and then down and up and then down from 0 to 255. 255 is fully opaque, 0 is fully transparent. And we set the image color, and I make it red. So it's red, green, blue, and alpha. That's these 4 numbers right here. And I'm doing it based off of another image that's being added. I called light, and I'm pulling in custom 3. So let's go and close this down, edit our emitter, and select from a drop-down list. Let's add blinking light, add him, and there we could modify the rate, and we could turn it on to start with if we want to, but we don't want to do that. We want to leave it off. And let's close now and run again, and we don't see anything because it's not in turbo mode. Fly back, speed the game up, slow the game down. Well, we still don't see anything, right? Well, let's explore why not. Let's go back and edit, and we've added the blinking light, and that's true. And let's look, well, maybe the problem is in the script itself. So let's edit the blinking light. And it's true that we set a light image. This is an arbitrary name. So we called it light on ourselves, create an image called light, make it to custom 3. Well, one problem though is we haven't said where that image needs to be. By default, it's at coordinate 0, 0, 0, which means at the unit that it's attached to, and it's at the same Z. So it's the same distance from the camera. We need to maybe perhaps move it closer to the camera so that it appears in front. So let's Let's try that. Self. Notice anything I type here is gonna because like I said in Notepad I've added auto completion, so we've got a number of helpers here that pop up. So let's say self light, and we're going to do a set image position Z, and let's make it minus 0.01. The lower the number, the closer it is to the camera. So you can think of Z as distance from the camera. So negative 0.01 is closer to the camera than 0. Let's try that. Save, compile, close, and send our guy back in. Check it out. Now we get a blinking light. Now this guy's about to die, so pay close attention right here. Check it out, a blinking light whenever it's in turbo mode. And the unit was destroyed, so it's back in normal non-turbo mode now, and there's no light. So that's pretty cool. That's an indicator that the unit is operating in a different fashion. Okay, so let's play right fast. Let's just keep going. I'm not even going to restart or save or any of those things I should do. Let's just play. By the way, I'm recording this, as you've noticed, showing my entire desktop. I had to do that because of the editor window. So I'm playing in a very small 800 by 600 window on a 1024 by 768 desktop. Not the best experience. So let's build some reactors here. Not too many. I'm running a little thin on energy right now. I'm going to just zoom out here for a minute. And since my window is so small, see if I can get a few more things built. Really starving for energy. What I'd like to show is just how difficult these towers are to attack. So what I need to do is just get enough of a energy infrastructure going here to get up there and assault one. Okay. Doing a little better. Not quite there yet. Build more as those finish. I think we're getting the energy we need now, and I'm just going to be reckless here and speed the game up so that we don't have to all wait for me to recover from this really bad start on this mission. Okay, that's starting to feel better now. Okay. Slow it back down because we're getting in trouble. Let's just move here and go ahead and build some relays. Build some of these guys. Let's build some strafers and probably going to regret not having any ore on this map. It's possible that it would come in very handy to have some ore. I'm sure it would. Let's just go ahead and move these guys up now. And in fact, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to go back into edit mode. And I'm going to go to ore deposit. And I'm just going to go ahead and place a few. Let's just drop them here. When you're creating a map, lots of times you'll play into it and you'll realize, you know what, it's not working right. You need a little more help for the player, or maybe it's not difficult enough. Maybe just one little cell of terrain is out of position. So in this case, I think it would have been a good idea to include some ore, so that's what I'm going to do, give myself some ore. I'm going to go ahead and launch these strafers so they can thin out that backfield a little bit. And let's go ahead and creep forward. They did a number on that digitalis. If you think about this for a second, you're like, well, why was that so easy for them to destroy the digitalis back there? Let's turn off the growth area. It's because, remember, this emitter only spawns, it only seeds digitalis when it's in turbo mode. It had done that when we were developing the mission and we flew a blaster over there to test it, and that initially seeded it and it grew from that, but it's no longer continuing to seed it. So the strafer was able to come in and take it out and cut off the digitalis from the emitter, because it continued its growth from being attached to the emitter, but that emitter is no longer seeding it. So when it was cut off, there was no replacement seed being placed by the emitter, and the rest of it is withered away. You can see there's where it had grown, and the rest of it is just fading away. Of course, when we get back close to it, then we're going to be in trouble, because it's going to reseed it and it's going to grow again. But anyway, so let's see. That might be too close. I don't know. Let's. If it is, this gun will shoot at it. No, we're in good shape. I'm fairly confident that this is pushing on it a little bit. Let's yep, you can see that gun shooting at it now, so let's back him up. He took some damage. Let's build a sprayer. Let's also build a couple bombers. Well, maybe 3. And I don't think it would hurt at all to do a little terraforming on this mission. Some of these things can get expensive, so I don't want to get behind on energy production here. I'm going to dump a lot into reactors. Now, some might be thinking, how about a shield? Maybe a shield would help. Well, once I get back in an energy positive situation here, I'll show you what a shield does. So let's build a shield. Get him built. I'm going to speed the game up again. Okay. Looks good. So you say, well, let's just move him right on up there and see what happens. That bullet goes right through the shield and deposits Creeper in the worst possible spot for a shield, which is right on the shield. So that's no good. It's not going to last long at all. What about a sprayer? Similar kind of thing. It gets deposited right at the sprayer, so not very effective either. Terraforming. Could always terraform, perhaps. And then put things up on a platform. That way, maybe the creeper will run off of it quicker. So that's an idea. Things like sprayers need line of sight anyway. So that might work. Another strategy is decoys. These guys shoot at the closest one, so I could build a number of units and then send them in, and hopefully they would live long enough and they would draw the fire while I approach from another direction and get a nullifier built. So that sounds like a potentially viable strategy, but also potentially expensive. It also sounds like we might need to deposit some anti-creeper along the way so that they live longer if they have a blanket of anti-creep around them. And I'm going to go ahead and build this plateau up. So that it's ready to put a nullifier on, possibly, if this works. So let's go ahead and lay down some anti-creeper. We're also going to need another relay there to get in range. I'm going to try to get my fleet of sacrificial pulse cannons ready. Move a few of them closer. Wait for this plateau to get built. By the way, this might not work. I don't know. I've not played this mission before. It's just an idea. So let's go ahead and I'm going to pause the game. And I'm going to tell a whole bunch of these guys to move in nearby. And I'm worried about the southern one as well. Okay, let's select our weapon. Build this as far away as we can and start building it because it's going to take a bit to get built. That's not too bad. These guys are taking damage and they are not going to last forever, but they might last long enough. And the anti-creeper is definitely helping. They are out of ammo and can no longer defend themselves, so they are dying quickly. Okay, come on, guys. More sacrifices. Oh no! And it failed. You know what? It was a potentially viable strategy if I had micromanaged it just a little bit better. But you know what? In most of these videos, I always succeed and somehow manage to pull it out. In this one, I didn't. I made a map and I failed at it. And you know what? That's fine too. That means the map is a challenge, and I need to think about how to come back to this and approach these guys with a different strategy or with a better managed strategy that involves these sacrificial lambs. Anyway, that's a look at script management, custom image management, new enemies, lots of new topics here to consider, and think about how you will use them when you make your custom maps. Thanks for watching.